Part 2 of our review of Presentation Zen by Mr. Garr Reynolds. Oh my goodness, my apologies. I was saying Gary before. I apologize for that. So we got to number 4 last time here. So let's just jump right into it. I got some carbonated water in a wine glass. Had a good night's sleep. Let's get this done. Remove the non-essential. Yes, sir. Totally agree with that. Will you tell us how? Or are you going to describe why it's important for us not to have all a bunch of details? This applies to the content of your talk. Yep. Cutting superfluous. Ooh, good word. Cutting superfluous. Cutting the superfluous is one of the hardest things. Yeah. Because everything does seem important. Very true. Very true. How? But when you have only 10 minutes or an hour, you have to make hard choices, inclusion. This is something professional storytellers know very well. What is included must be included for a good reason. And then I'm quite fond of this quote. Okay, whatever. You guys can read the quote right now. Garr, Mr. Reynolds, how? I think I talked about this. I already gave this to you. When we talked about have a clear theme, here's how you remove the non-essentials. You record yourself doing your speech, right? Time it, then cut it in half, then cut it in half, then cut it in half, cut it in half, till you get to about 30 seconds, and then reduce it down to a few words. That way, you have practiced a speech in different times. And even if you do your speech, let's say you have a 5-minute speech, and you practice 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute, 30 seconds, and then a few words, when you have to actually practice your speech again for the 5-minute version, you're going to be way more clear. You're going to see, I didn't talk about this, I didn't talk about that. That's how you get to the removal of non-essential. Quick strategy. Try it out. Hook them early. Yes, of course, as opposed to what everyone thinks that's what everyone tries to do. Grab them by the throat and never let them, okay, that's a quote. Oh, okay, I was like, ooh, Garr, you got some rage. We've got to hook our audience early. Don't waste time at the beginning with formalities or filter talk. Start with a bang. Yep. Get their attention and then sustain their interest and a variety and unexpectedness with variety and how? And again, so it was a corporate report card. You know, we're like 5 different people are going to speak about different things that the company did that year. Unexpectedness, how, sir? Get bogged down in backstories or details about minor or non-relevant points. Yeah, you're right. But that's not about hooking them early. So here's what you do. Here's a strategy. Most people's first slide will be the title of their presentation and their name. And then the first thing that people say is their name and the title of the presentation, right? And so right off the bat, everybody's like, standard. Instead of that, here's a very simple strategy. Instead of that, here's like a really simple strategy. Have your first slide be a picture that at first seems totally unrelated to your topic. Then have your slide with your title and stuff. And the reason I say that is this: you never know how conservative or how traditional your audience is going to be, even if you know everybody, or you might not feel comfortable being like really dramatic. It might not be your personality to be charismatic, right? So doing something that grabs them by the throat or unexpected might be very uncomfortable for people. So rather than that, this is a simple strategy. And I'll give you an example. I watched the presentation, and the person started off with a story about when they were a kid, they were afraid to eat green foods because it was going to make them green. And on the picture, they had a picture of the Grinch, the Grinch from Christmas, that famous kind of green monster. That presentation was about a zoo. So they started off with that green picture, and everybody was like, and he told the story, and everyone was like, where are you going with this? And then he related to the fact that when he went, it all came because he went to the zoo and he found out that flamingos are pink because of the pink stuff they eat. He said that freaked him out. But later on in life, it became a super fun fact that he did, that he loved to tell people. And he's always loved the zoo, even though he still doesn't eat green food. And it was really funny. And then he went, "Good afternoon, everybody. My name's so-and-so." And then he went into that title slide. So what did he do? He covered both their bases. He covered the fun, unexpected, but then he showed the traditional slide for anyone who might be more conservative in the room. Cover your bases. Show a clear conflict. Again, if you're doing a presentation, this is what I talked about last time, right? If we can't apply it to our day-to-day presentations, how do we do it? Story proof, science behind the start of storytelling. So more and more, I'm really feeling like this is not a presentation on, and you said this, not me, 10 tips for improving your, oh, I keep clicking this link, improving your public speaking today. Yeah, from storytelling as they relate to modern presentations. Okay, so it's not really 10 tips about improving your story, about improving your presentation. It's 10 tips on storytelling that you can use within a presentation. Subtle difference. I know I'm being pedantic. I know. Being a dick is what I'm doing. I'm sorry, Garr. All right, here we go. Show a clear conflict. Yep. Let's see if he tells us how. I doubt it, but not every presentation type is about a problem that needs to be dealt with. Okay, but many are. Okay. And we can certainly improve almost any talk by being mindful of what is at stake and what the obstacles are to overcome. But what if it's not about a problem? I guess this point then we just don't use this. I think that's what you're thinking, that we just don't use this. Fair. Okay, fair point. It may not apply directly to every kind of talk you give, but many examples that we give or experience that we share to illustrate a point will be about a problem that needs to be dealt with. Yep. Make things clear, engaging, and memorable by illustrating the struggle. Garr, this is the trap you're falling into, man. You're telling us the what, but not the how. Every person who does a presentation strives to make things clear, engaging, and memorable. No one says, you know what? I'm going to put everyone to sleep today. Yeah. I'm just going to go out there and I'm going to give them everything they don't want. Nobody does. Everyone starts with this intention, but no one shows us how. So what do we do for conflict? Here's something I like to do. I think I talked about it in the previous video with the what if. This is not for me. This is from Alan Alda, who I think is an amazing actor, storyteller. He was the host of Scientific America, making really boring science stuff really interesting. And he said, every good story is about the problem. But there's a secret to this. You have to make the problem seem insurmountable. You have to spend like 70 to 80% of your story making the problem seem crazy and huge and unbeatable. That's what he said. Personally, what I like to do is I like to identify a problem in one sentence and then ask the audience, well, what should we do? Because that engages them. That gets them thinking. So for example, we've seen a lot of growth in region A, but it's been slowing down. Why do you think that is? And what can we do about it? Okay. Hey, we had a great year here. We had a great year in terms of the speed which we acquired new customers. Can we maintain it? So I kind of throw these things out. Even if it's not a clear problem, when you throw the question out as what's the next step, how can we do the next step, that can kind of illustrate a problem. Try that on your next presentation. Just be like, so can we maintain it? What can we do about it? Why is this happening? Questions like that, simple ones that you can put that in any presentation. And then let the audience either like sit with it for a second or actually say, no, I'm serious. I want to hear your responses. Why do you think this is happening? Let's chat about it. What don't we know? That's another one. I love throwing that one out. So what don't we know? What would you like to know? Demonstrate a clear change. I think this goes with the concept of like, if you're going to have a problem, you need to have a solution. Affecting a change is a necessary condition of an effective speech. Yeah. A presentation that does not seek to make change is a waste of time and energy. by business guru Seth Godin. He is a business guru. He is Seth Godin. But again, what does this have to do with our corporate report card? Nada. Unless you have some recommendations. If you're just going to give a report, here's what's happening in the territory, and it's not your job to do recommendations, you're just here to report what's happened, then this doesn't apply to you at all. The only thing I would recommend then is that you make a note, like, because this is probably going to happen, so-and-so, the CEO is going to discuss some key ideas to help us address these problems, or our next speaker will do that, right? Otherwise, have a recommendation, I think is what, just have like 1 or 2 recommendations. For every problem, have a recommendation. Done. Instead of the only change the presenter creates in the audience is a change from wakefulness to sleep. I like that, that's cute. Show or do the unexpected doesn't apply to most of our presentations. Unless what you do, remember that strategy I told you about when you're opening, have a picture that seems unrelated, have things that seem unrelated throughout the presentation. This takes the onus off you if you're not a charismatic speaker, right? So let's say I'm doing the report card and I'm talking about new client acquisition in all the different places. And what I can do is for each region, I can try and find a picture that identifies the region. So almost like if you guys know what a BCG matrix is, this is a BCG matrix right here. So you can identify products. Oops, let me move myself. I have moved myself as a dog, a cow, a star, or a question. You see? You could literally have for every region, dog or cow, or a star, or a question mark, right? And that would lead. So let's talk about region 2, and it's a picture of a puppy. We are not doing well here, but it's a brand new market. Hence the young dog. Done. Have unexpected. Have pictures that seem unrelated at first to your topic and then create the relationship. You do that first by designing your presentation, then going back and adding pictures. And if you want to find really cool pictures, there's 2 websites. I'll just show you real quick. There's 2 websites you can use. One is Pexels. Let me go like this down here. So if you go to if you go to pexels.com, beautiful free stock footage and videos apparently now. Nice. You can put puppy, for example. Puppy. The other website that's pretty much the same thing is unsplash.com. Super high quality images, and you can put whatever you want there. This is a cash cow region. Cow, there, done, done. What a great strategy, done. Why don't you talk about that? You must know about these websites, right? That's unexpected. An easy way to do unexpected. Make them feel in nothing. I don't even know if I can do anything for this one, guys. Make them feel what? Like, go corporation. Know that it is emotion which impacts people profoundly. It's a tough one for me because, you know, on the surface, it has nothing to do with most of the speaking we do. Honestly, Mr. Reynolds, it's true, right? This is motivational, boo, 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 blah, blah, blah. That being said, one of the jobs as a good presenter, let's say if I'm doing my corporate report card, is at the end of the report card, giving some sort of inspiration to my audience to make them address the dogs, right? And feel proud about the cash cows. I think that's the biggest thing you can do. How do we do that? Off the top of my head, the only thing I would say is instead of giving my recommendations first, I would put the audience into like little, like a 1-minute breakout group where everyone just turn to the next 2 people next to you. Little group here, little group, just turn around to you. I'm gonna give you all 1 minute. Tell me what we should do. Whatever they come up with, it'll make them feel like they're part of the process, and that could make them feel something. You know what I mean? Even if it is like, how can we grow region C? What's a good way to expedite our reporting process, right? If they have part of the say, they'll care. Oh, don't you dare be authentic. Everyone tries to be authentic, man, but sometimes we don't feel comfortable because it's not our job to be authentic. The presentation doesn't really, isn't conducive to that. Do you know what I mean? Don't be vulnerable. Fragility. I mean, this would all be good stuff if I was there telling you about the time that I lost my puppy as a child and the first time I cried or the first time I fell in love. But that's super inappropriate in the corporate world. So I think the big thing to, instead of being authentic, is don't be formal. I'm not saying walk into the room and be like, Wu-Tang! I'm saying walk into the room and instead of being like, I would now like to move on to our second point, which will address some of the key figure. Don't talk like that. If you write your speech out, that's how you're going to talk. I think the most important thing is to practice without a script and mess it up a lot in front of other people. Do that 10, 15, 20 times. And what you will find is that it'll always be a little different, but you'll find your own words for it. And that can be a good way to be authentic. So that is it for this review. Yet another TED talker. TEDx talker. Great ideas, but Mr. Reynolds, again, where is the tactic, the follow through, the execution? Take it outside of the world of you and the way you did it that one time and put it into the world of everyone's day to day. If you can do that and update this article, I think you'd have some really good stuff. So that is it, dear viewer. Thank you for coming on this beautiful journey of destroying someone's article for no reason. But my name is Yvonne. I have a link to my courses down below if you want to try them out, enjoy them. They are if you like the way that I give you just like, here's a quick tactic, that's all my courses are. I don't believe there's one right way to speak. What I believe is in tools. So in the course, I basically just teach you, here's a tool, try it. Did it work? Doesn't matter. Try this one. Doesn't matter. This one, oh, this one worked. Okay, now try this one. Oh, this one worked too. This one didn't work. Doesn't matter. I try and teach you a ton of tools that you can throw at a problem or a speech or a presentation, and they don't all have to work. That's awesome. But it doesn't matter because you'll have so many that if one or two won't work, it won't impact your delivery. Anyway, that's in the links below. Thank you for watching, dear viewer. Bye. Wu-Tang!